but I'm not speaking to you this morning in only that capacity. Today, on this occasion, I am also speaking to you as the son of a World War II medic, the brother of an Army intelligence officer, and the uncle of a West Point captain who served in Afghanistan. I am, on this occasion, speaking to you as an American, one who is honored and humbled to be here and to stand most particularly in the presence of our many veterans and active service members. Please join me in applauding them one more time. In May of 1996, Carmela Laspada met a group of school children on the Mall in Washington, D.C. She asked them what Memorial Day meant to them. They all paused and then cried out in unison, "That's the day the pool opens." Ms. Laspada decided that she wanted to help those children and others like them understand that Memorial Day is more than just new car sales and the unofficial start to summer. She wanted them to understand the freedoms they have in America and, most importantly, the sacrifice made by those members of our military who died to protect those freedoms. Ms. Laspada started the Moment of Remembrance campaign with the goal of putting the memorial back into Memorial Day. It is why at 3:00 p.m. on Memorial Day, all Americans observe a moment of silence in honor of the military who died protecting our freedoms and protecting the freedoms of people in countries around the world. Please join me in acknowledging the children who are here today and in thanking their parents and their teachers for helping them understand the true meaning of Memorial Day. There may be a moment or a period of time when Memorial Day becomes personal for each of us. For me, that moment occurred in May of 2010, when my nephew Wes graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point, New York. During his 4 years at West Point, Wes would often spend long weekends with me as his own family lived hours away in Southern Virginia. He was a typical college kid. He made up silly songs, he procrastinated on assignments, he ate pizza, and played video games. I loved Wes, and on the day of his commencement, as he stood with his classmates in his dress grays, I could not have been more excited for his future. I listened with pride as the President of the United States gave the commencement address. The President spoke initially about the past accomplishments of our military, but then he shifted his focus to America's then current strategy in Afghanistan. And the words came. "I am humbled," he said, "by the knowledge that many of you will soon be serving in harm's way." My excitement turned to fear as reality struck. My nephew wasn't a typical college kid. He was a soldier, and he was scheduled to be deployed to the mountains of Afghanistan. Following the ceremony, I found a moment to speak to Wes alone. "I'm scared," I said. "Are you?" "No, Uncle Steve," came the reply. "I've been training for this. I'm ready to go." I could not have been more proud. Wes spent the next 9 months serving in Afghanistan near the Pakistan border. And every day I worried. The news reports would come in. 2 U.S. military killed today in Afghanistan. 4 U.S. military. 7. For 9 long months, the numbers came in, but they were not numbers to me. They were my nephew. They were somebody's son, daughter, father, mother. Eventually, Wes came home, but others did not. And so it has been for this country since the first shots for freedom were fired in Lexington and Concord. From then until the present, more than 1 million members of the military have died in the service of America. But they are not numbers, they are heroes. We live in an era of instant fame. People post pictures on Facebook of what they ate for breakfast. They published blogs about the latest episode of Game of Thrones. But the men and women who died in the service of our country were not seeking fame or public recognition. They were seeking instead to protect their friends, their families, and the freedoms of this country. They gave their lives to do that, and they deserve the honor of a proud and grateful nation. And so how do we honor them? Honor can be in the form of flowers and flags and moments of silence. Those are important and meaningful. To me, however, the word honor is less of a noun and more of a verb. Honor is less in the things we give and even more in the actions we take, the things we do. The men and women we remember today fought and died to ensure our freedoms as Americans. We can honor them, therefore, with a pure and faithful exercise of those freedoms. We have, for example, the freedom to engage in political disagreement and discourse. Let us engage in that discourse at the very highest level. We have the freedom to lead lives unfettered by discrimination based on race, religion, gender, culture, or national origin. Let us affirm that freedom by the respect with which we treat one another. Finally, let us honor the sacrifice of our servicemen and women through our active pursuit of peace. As General Douglas MacArthur so eloquently put it, the soldier above all others prays for peace, for it is the soldier who must suffer and bear the deepest wounds of war. There are times when peace can only be ensured through fighting, and we need to have a military fully prepared to do that. But we must remember that the ultimate goal of a just war is always peace, and that the servicemen and women we honor today died in the hope of that peace for our country and for our world. Memorial Day is both a solemn and a celebratory occasion. It is a time to honor those who gave their lives in the service of our country, and also a time to celebrate the freedoms they died to protect. It is a time to reflect in silence on the sacrifice of the few for the many, and it is a time to cheer out loud for a country that is a champion of freedom and peace around the world. The solemn and celebratory nature of this day is reflected in the unique instructions of how we are to display the flag on Memorial Day. For the morning on Memorial Day, the flag is to be flown at half-staff. At noon, however, the law requires that the flag be raised to its full height. As we look to the flag on Memorial Day, let us do so with respect and reverence, and also with tremendous pride and patriotism. Let us see in it the sacrifice of our service people in the trenches of France, Germany, Guadalcanal, and Korea. Let us see in it the faces of those who fought and died on the seas of the South Pacific, in the jungles of Vietnam, in the sands of Desert Storm, the streets of Bosnia, and in the mountains of Afghanistan. Finally, let us see in our flag, as it flies at full staff, the pinnacle of our patriotism. Let us see in it and celebrate one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for being here today. God bless the families in Princeton and our troops around the world.